It's all there for a reason. It's all there for a reason. Okay? That's your digestive. Something I wanted to note about the digestive system. You see in the intestines, you see how much surface area those intestines take up? Do you know 70% of your immunity is in your intestines? All right, 70%. So you have what's known as your good bacteria, or it's also called your normal flora. That's in the in the intestines. And a lot of times, if a person has had a history of a lot of antibiotics, given a lot of antibiotics, the problem with the antibiotics is that it kills both good bacteria and bad bacteria. So yeah, there may have been a bacterial infection, and that is taken care of. But something that a lot of people fail to do is to go back and build up the good bacteria once again. And so if a person goes for a prolonged time without the good bacteria in the intestine, it can cause the person to experience fatigue. It can make the person more susceptible to colds and sicknesses and so forth, because once again, 70% of the immune response is in the intestine.
So you should take probiotics in that?
We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it.
It's in the refrigerator, I won't take them.
Very good. That's what
I won't take them now.
Now, the next organ system is the endocrine system. These are our glands. Specifically, a gland that I want to talk about is the thyroid gland, which is number 3. Right? With the thyroid, it's actually been found that in the United States, individuals have less iodine. They have a decrease or deficiency of iodine. And iodine is actually a nutrient for the thyroid. So it's basically the thyroid's food. As a result, a person may be going around with a low thyroid. Now the thing which is called hypothyroidism. If a person has type 2 hypothyroidism, it more than likely will not be detected in a blood test. So a person may feel, oh, I'm always tired, I feel cold, my hands are cold, my feet are cold. Maybe my thyroid is low. And then they can go and have that blood test, and the blood test may come back and say your thyroid is normal. Now if it's type 2 hypothyroidism, it may be normal, but it doesn't mean that the thyroid is not low, not functioning at a low level. So here are some common things which people may not realize this. But if a person goes for a prolonged period of time with a low functioning thyroid, high blood pressure, diabetes, linked to low thyroid. All right? So that is, I think there's some confirmation going on today. High blood pressure and diabetes. Number 5, and I'm just hitting on key ones because once again we only have an hour. But number 5, those are your adrenal glands. Okay. All right. See, I told you it's confirmation in here today. I prayed before I came in. The adrenal glands is how we combat stress. A lot of times, a person can overwork their adrenal glands. Basically, the endocrine system helps to produce these hormones so that we function. All right? If it's time for a transition from young adult puberty, person goes through puberty, for the men, the voice starts changing, they start going through and then all of a sudden they're deeper voices, okay? For women, there are different changes, all right? The production of the secondary sex characteristics, all right? So with the adrenal glands, our body, everyone is going to encounter stress, all right? So that's something that we cannot get rid of. I apologize if you thought that I could tell you there was some magic way to get rid of the stress. That's something that we all encounter. However, if your body is working the way that it's supposed to, then it can help defend against stress. Your stress hormone is cortisol, all right? Within the adrenal glands, there's estrogen that's produced, there's cortisol that's produced, there's progesterone that's produced. The problem is the way that a lot of the food is being processed, there's a lot of hormones being pumped into the food. So we end up consuming more hormones, which throws off the balance of our hormones. So your adrenal glands are trying to keep up. There's a certain status quo that our body is supposed to have, all right? And so your body then works to maintain that status quo. But if we start throwing more things in, then the body has to work to catch up with it. And so you have a society whereby we're in fight or flight, okay? You're going, wake up, okay, you gotta hurry up, get your cup of coffee, run out here, go do this, go do that, go do that. And it's a lot of hustle and bustle. Well, this is what your hormones are for. It's supposed to help you with the hustle and bustle. The only problem is we're hustling and bustling. We're not getting a chance to rest, so the body becomes overworked. And with the adrenals, this is something that we're seeing with a lot of individuals. Their adrenals are shot. Here is a classical sign of if a person is having adrenal problems. Let's say a person sat down and stood up, and they feel lightheaded. They're ready to pass right out. The adrenals can be overworked. Okay? And say all of a sudden the blood pressure, instead of going up high, it just hits rock bottom.
Is that when you see little spots before your eyes?
You can see the spots in your eye. You feel like you're about to drop out. Okay? The adrenals may be overworked. I'm going to move to the next slide. Skeletal system. Now I had to get this skeletal system here because this one is striking a pose if you do see it.
Yeah.
Okay? Had to add a little bit of flair. How interesting can the bones be? They're very interesting, okay? Because this is your support system. This protects your vitally important organs. You have your skull that protects the brain, the mastermind of what's going on. Okay, you have your ribs that protect your lungs. And for those that may not know, your first rib starts here, okay? Right in here. And then it goes down. There are some people that think that their ribs start here, but your first rib actually starts here. All right, so be very careful about people coming and grabbing you and all that stuff. Your lungs coming all the way up. You don't want them to injure you in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Strong bones, very important. Here is something to note with your bones. If you are someone that likes a lot of caffeine and soda, well, Coca-Cola. Did I dial your number or what? It leaks calcium out of the bone. So that can produce something known as osteoporosis. No more? Tea. The caffeine in tea is not as high. It depends on what kind of tea you drink.
Green tea?
Green tea is good. Green tea is good. But you have to be cautious with if your habit is 4 cups of coffee a day, please. You're creating more problems for yourself, okay? Moderation, please. For those people, I say just try to wean yourself down, okay? Don't stop right off the bat, because then you'll get a massive headache, and then you'll say, she doesn't like me, she just wanted me to suffer. But gradually wean yourself off. If you increase your water intake, that will decrease your need for the coffee, all right?
What if you get a headache when you don't do the caffeine? If you don't do the coffee? If I don't do my coffee, I get a headache.
That's because you drink too much coffee. That's why you gotta drink the water. You gotta drink the water.